Hey guys, Corey here. Today I want to talk about the Super Troops, more specifically the Super Wall Breaker. Alright, this thing is amazing and it is super OP, and I'm going to tell you 3 ways that you can use that Super Wall Breaker every week instead of every other week, like Supercell wants us to with that 7-day cooldown. Now the first strategy that we have for doing this, they're all tricky a little bit. You gotta time it, you gotta do some certain things, but there's 3 different ways you can make this work, and the first one really applies to war leagues. For example, you're in CWL, NDL, that sort of thing, with a regular weekly schedule where your war is the same day, roughly the same time, every single week. For example, in WHF2, I believe we're running CWL Phoenix, which is a no-dip league, and this thing, we're just going to give you an example time to make this easy. Let's say that your war league starts every Saturday at noon, alright? And if you're at Town Hall 11, you have an attack window. I mean, everybody has an attack window, but if you're at Town Hall 11, if you're lowest Town Hall, you're expected to get your attacks in first, earliest. So maybe the first half of the war, the first 12 hours, that's going to be your attacking window. So in our example of Saturday at noon, my attacking window would be Saturday at noon until midnight on Saturday. So this first way that we can have this every week for this same exact competition is just to cut your attacking window right in half and make sure to select your super troop at that halfway point. So for example, in my situation on the Saturday at noon wars, I would select my Super Wall Breaker at 6 p.m. that Saturday. That way I had 6 hours to get in 2 attacks, or however many attacks you got to do with your account. So that's plenty of time, and I can use the Super Wall Breaker. Now, next Saturday at noon, I'm going to have to set my alarm on my Google Calendar, and I'm going to have to just really keep an eye on what time I get to that war, because starting that next Saturday at noon until 6 p.m. when I selected that Super Wall Breaker, that is going to be my 6-hour window to use it that point. And as long as you stay on top of it, but mind you, you cannot miss your window, especially when it comes to selecting that super troop at that 6 p.m. marker, because a week later, right after that 7-day cool off is down, you're going to want to have alarm set. You're going to want to get right back on and select that Super Wall Breaker again so that you can keep doing the same thing, and that way you get to use it for half of your attack window every single week for that competitive war league. So set your Google Calendar, set alarms, do not miss your window, because you're gonna screw it up if you miss that window. Another thing to take note of is do not select a different super troop in your cool off period unless you're doing it at the exact time that the switch is made. Unless you're doing it at the exact time where the Super Wall Breaker wears off, you don't want to mess around with doing that at all, because if you select a different super troop, you are stuck with it for 7 days. So even though your cool off might be done, your 7-day period of having that new super troop might not be done. So if you're going to select a different one, do it at the perfect time, or don't do it at all. Alright guys, that is the first way to do this for your war leagues. Have it every single week. Now, there is a strategy number 2 that will work as well. Now this has some serious benefits, and it has some serious drawbacks as well. One of the benefits is you're not going to have to worry about all that timing. So if you're kind of like me and keeping track of that exact time period, or really close to that same time period every single Saturday, or whatever day your war league is, whatever the middle of your attack window is, you'd have to figure that out on your own, because they all have different schedules. If you're not really good at that sort of thing, you might want to try this second one. And this one is also kind of assuming that you're pretty competitive, because the only way this one's really going to work the best is if you have a completely maxed account. And the way that we're talking about here is just to keep some in your army composition. Alright, in your current army composition and in the one that you have queued up, because even after you're no longer able to cook the Super Wall Breakers, or, whatever super troop they come out with in the future that might be super OP as well, even if you're not able to cook new ones of those, if you already have them in your army camps, that's fine. But the reason I say you want to have max base if you're going to try this is because obviously you cannot farm at all unless you're in that 7-day period where you have that super troop. But If you already have a maxed account, you don't need to farm. You can just hit friendly challenges in clan. Just be very careful when you're changing your armies that you're only changing a few troops at a time. Always keep the super wall breakers at the very back of your queue. Otherwise, you're accidentally going to dump them into your army when you can't cook them. And then if you don't have any queued up, you're not going to have any available for that next attack. And once again, this is not going to work the entire week as well. So this has serious drawbacks, but this one will also work so that you can use it on your off weeks, at least for 2 attacks in some sort of competitive war league situation. So there you guys go. Just remember, do not try and go looting. Do not do legends attacks if you're going to be using that strategy, because once you lose those super wall breakers out of your army camps, out of your upcoming army log, then you're not going to have access to them anymore unless you're on that 7-day period where they are active. And then of course you can loot away, farm away, legends away, all you want, and just, you know, don't worry about having to cook them again. All right, guys. Number 3 way to do this. Now this one is like the easiest in a lot of ways, but also the hardest in some ways, guys, and that is having 2 different accounts that are the same town hall level that you're competing at, whether it's Supercell, CWL, gosh, it wouldn't work. It would not work in Legends Leagues. This one definitely wouldn't work in Legends League, but competitive war leagues, as long as you have both your accounts on the roster, and that way, say if you had 2 maxed out Town Hall 13s, but you generally only compete with one of them, then you could just time those so that at any given time, one of those accounts always has a super wall breaker available. And, you know, this has some serious drawbacks because not everybody has 2 accounts. So this is going to be the most difficult one to accomplish unless you happen to already have 2 accounts at the same level, the same upgrade level, the same town hall level and everything. Honestly, I know there's a lot of those folks out there, but the vast majority of clashers, this is not quite an option, but it could definitely be an option that you work towards. So if maybe that's your easiest option that you want to do, maybe you want to work towards having 2 accounts at the same town hall level. Of course, right now Town Hall 13 is really popular. Everybody wants to have, you know, at least one maxed out Town Hall 13, if not more, for the sake of competition, for the sake of the Supercell Clan War Leagues, the World Championships, all the ESL tournaments, bring in real cash. That might be something that you want to work towards. If you got a team that you like, maybe work on having 2 accounts and always transfer them so that as soon as one wears off, you're selecting that super wall breaker on the other. Or, you know, who knows? Supercell has said that they are going to be coming out with even more super troops. So in this super wall breaker, super OP, I don't know if you noticed or not, but all the attacks that I've been showing, every single one of these bad boys was a queen charge using super wall breakers just to make wall breaks super easy into areas that would have otherwise been pretty darn tricky to get wall breaks. And look at this, he's charging looks like 3 ground expos right there with super long ranges, and no problem using that jump to get a little deeper into the base. But guys, it's gonna be really interesting to see what happens with new super troops that come out. And honestly, I don't like the 7-day cool off, man. I get the super troop function. I get they didn't just want to make new troops. They wanted to make a new function in the game, and I think that's awesome. I think they do a really good job of putting new cool stuff into the game, keeping it exciting for us, and I like that. The only part I don't like is the 7-day cooldown period. I think if you just got rid of that, you could even, you know, keep all the rest of the functions of super troops. The fact that you're stuck with the same one for 7 days, the fact that you can only have one active at a time, I don't have any problem with that. The problem that I run into is that 7-day cool off period, because how do you prioritize one tournament over another? And then if you're a maxed out Town Hall 13 and you have Supercell Clan War Leagues coming up and you really want your clan to advance in that, or maybe, you know, money tournaments and stuff like that, you're really gonna have to prioritize which one of those tournaments that you're gonna want those, you know, the super wall breakers for, honestly, because they're the most OP one out there right now off the get-go, out of the initial 4 by far. So I don't know, man, that it really brings an unneeded aspect to the game, to the fact where I think we're going to see world championships and stuff where somebody has mistimed their use of a super troop and does not have the advantage of using it while several others do. And I just think, man, if we didn't have that cool off, I think that whole issue would definitely be fixed. Valhalla, nice triple here. I think, honestly, I think all these triples were with hybrid attacks as well. Hybrid attacks super strong. Last night I got on 6-pack. Those are the first 2 attacks I showed in this video. It's just 6-packing with super wall breakers with a hybrid, man. It just makes those wall breaks so easy. I don't think I brought a single jump spell with me, just because you don't really need to with the super wall breakers. You just really have to focus on which wall they're going to break by looking at those structures, the buildings behind walls, because they don't target walls necessarily. They target structures behind the walls. In fact, the nearest structure that is behind a wall, that is the wall that they will target to break up. So you look at where those structures are and place your wall breakers accordingly to break a wall based on the closest structure. Guys, if you found this video to be helpful, do me a favor, throw a like up on it so it helps that YouTube algorithm know this is going to be a useful video for people. Now let's check this out. Martin coming in here to finish up this video, man, charging the Queen, a single, a scatter shot, a ground expo. Queen had so much DPS coming on her, but he still doesn't have to use that Queen ability because of a beautifully placed freeze spell that manages to freeze the Queen, manages to freeze the single. Oh my god, he still has not used the Queen ability, even though that scatter shot's still raining down while his Queen is being repeatedly frozen by those ice golems. Holy moly, man. Martin had a killer Queen charge right here with some serious balls, standing in there, not popping that ability early until it was completely necessary. Now, unfortunately, the scatter shot retargeted onto the healers along with eagle shots and got the healers taken out so fast, man. Poor Martin definitely deserved to have his healers and his Queen survive after that beautiful of a Queen charge right there. But here we go. We still got lots of miners and lots of pigs coming into this section of the base. Beautiful freeze spell, freezing 2 ground bows and the Town Hall 13. Grand Warden ability, perfect timing there right before that Giga Bomb was gonna go off of that Town Hall. Man, that freeze spell that Town Hall does at max Town Hall 13 really freezes those troops up a ton. But look at that last heal spell goes down right there. Manages to have pretty much all his troops in that last heal spell. Does use his Royal Champion ability. She was taking some heavy fire, but we got plenty of miners and hogs coming in, tanking that last single, ensuring this Royal Champion is going to be surviving the rest of this raid. Guys, on your screen right now, there's going to be links to some of my other videos that you might want to take a look at. Throw a like on this video if you haven't already. Help me out with that YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. What are you waiting for, friends? I'll see you in the next video.